now that we're through all the other settings with the Assignment Studio, it's on to the grading aspect and how you're going to assess students. So first of all, you can see there's this course grading scale. If I pop that open, see it's going to show me all the letter grades as well as the high and low bounds of what I define as those letter grades. So it defaults to just kind of what the standard A, B, C, D range grades are. You don't need to use this. This is just going to kind of help you visualize things on your interface, and theoretically stores the information so that it could display to the student what grade they were given. We don't do that right now, but again, the option is there in the future. So you can change these. Maybe an A in my course is a 98 or higher. You'll see it changes the high bound for the grade after it. So one little thing you can do there. Now another aspect here is that there's the assignment breakdown table. So you can see that you have all the categories from the classification of assignment that I said on the other page as a taxonomy, and then you have all these stats here. Now I know someone's going to ask, why is this 101? There's some rounding that happens in JavaScript with the function I'm using, so this is usually 99 or 101. So just keep that in mind, unless it's very even numbers. But you can see we have the category, whether or not it's submitted in this site or outside of the site, percentage of assignments that this category makes up. So for example, this says, okay, there's 4 blog assignments in this course, and there's 8 assignments total, so that's 50% of all assignments are blog assignments. Points though is that there's 222 points amongst all of those assignments, and that makes up 65% of the overall grade for a student. So down here a little bit, you'll see that you can actually define all of these. So this is where we've got some fun stuff going on. So you can see if I set this to 40 points, it goes through, changes the total number of points in the blog category, and we'll do so for everything else here. So if I change discussion, see that drastically changes the point values. I can change what this is classified as, and you can watch it shift the totals around that way. There's the due dates, which, if somebody was wondering why date pop-up is required, it's to make this a little easier. So you can select what the due date is. Right now the due date isn't enforced anywhere, but again, for future functionality's sake, you could use the due date to enforce a due date as to when an assignment is due, whether or not students can submit after the deadline. For our situation, we just allow them to submit anyway, and then the due date is there more as a reference for the instructor to be able to see side by side when they submitted it as well as when it's supposed to be due. There's also this little thing, which I honestly didn't think would be used that much when I first did this, but we're using it in several courses now, is the ability to say, is this assignment actually contained within this Drupal site? So if I say no, you'll see it goes through the totals and says, hey, there's another discussion that isn't submitted in the site. Now, why would you use this? You would use this if, say, you're collecting assignments in class and you wanted to use this system to actually manage the grade book and keep track of those assignments, even though they aren't going to be submitted in this system. I'm going to show on the actual interface now why that would be useful. So now that we're done with that, I'm going to go, and there's one last thing you have to configure, unfortunately, and that is you have to go to text image. Now in text image, it doesn't like one of the fonts that I have on here, but in text image you're going to have to go and do new, and you're going to have to create a preset called Assignment Studio, all one word, and then you select your font, which I have interesting fonts going on this local MAMP setup. You're going to pick your text color, which probably black is the best to stay with. Font size, 16 is fine. And then what you're also going to want to do is make this text rotation 90 degrees or negative 90. Either one's going to work. And now I can actually go to the Assignment Studio interface and show where all of these components hook in. Part 3.